Secondly, in this process, we have the option to consume, and we are experiencing consumption downgrading. In this era of circle-based economies, we're facing a new generation of young people born after 1995 and 2000 different from us. We grew up during a time of scarcity. I'm from the post-70s generation. That was the era of manufacturers, right? Back then we hyped up brands like Kraft and Coca-Cola, focusing on building big brands and mass distribution, running ads, and you'd personally ask me to sell products. We were very receptive to that, and that's just how our minds were shaped. There were only a few major brands. But now, young people live in the era of digital natives. They themselves are digital natives, born in the age of mobile internet, and are well known as such. They have access to a wider range of information sources, and as they say, they receive better education, have a stronger sense of brand awareness, and are more conscious of their consumer rights. So, this is an era of consumer equality, and also a time when consumers are on the rise. In this period, I think, in the past, we focused more on personal connections or situational relationships, operating mainly with the logic of selling products, competing to build factories, develop channels, set up retail spaces, or run shelf-based e-commerce, and later moving into social e-commerce. But ultimately, what do we need? We need to move toward building close, family-like relationships. So what does this mean? It means we need to cultivate the lifelong value of our users. You'll notice that when major American companies are about to make big moves, they always emphasize being people-centered. What remains constant is focusing on people, cultivating the lifelong value of each individual, right? Because at its core, all business in the world boils down to acquiring new customers, converting them, and getting repeat purchases. Every business relies on repeat purchases, and who drives those repeat purchases? People do. So, in the relationship between people, products, and scenarios, higher level competition is really about competing for human nature, and higher level power comes from things like brand strength. It's about capturing people's hearts and having a strong presence on the shelf. I think that's extremely important. Third, in this process, there will always be some consumers with personalized needs, and we need to create products that cater to those needs, not just focusing on IQ and EQ. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, as the people behind consumer brands, we need to have a better sense of aesthetics. We need to use better aesthetics to express our understanding of life, our values, and the meaning we find in life. To bring beauty and a sense of aesthetics into our lives, especially for the younger generation born after 1995 and 2000. They need this sense of beauty to enrich the dimensions of their lives. They use their own eyes to discover the beauty in the world, to recognize what makes a product good, and to see which scenarios are meaningful. So, I think when it comes to this, what we need to provide is effective human insight. Personally, I've always believed that working in consumer products is actually very challenging. It might seem like being a good product manager is enough to explain everything. It might look like if you create a good scenario and a good experience, you'll naturally stand out from the crowd. But in reality, truly great companies like Apple and Steve Jobs, right? They have a reality distortion field. For every generation of Apple's products, in my opinion, they also have this reality distortion field. At their core, it's about the relentless pursuit of excellence and perfection. And there's a strong sense of aesthetics and design value embedded in them. There's also a powerful release of emotional value in them, and that's something that ordinary entrepreneurs and regular products just can't achieve. This is extremely difficult and very challenging. It requires a very high level of aesthetic cultivation and also a strong ability to understand human nature. It also requires a very strong ability for deep thinking. When you can effectively connect all of this with large-scale industrial production, channel development, and the cultural value and meaning of a brand, internalizing it so it becomes the spark that ignites the product's value and learning potential, that's when you really make an impact. If you can ignite this in the market and turn it into brand power, that's extremely difficult. So, while consumer industries may seem easy on the surface, they're actually very hard to succeed in. We often say the entry barrier appears low, but the real competitive barriers are actually very high. I joke that no one in the new consumer sector has truly grasped the essence or threshold of consumer business. Usually, it's just someone starting a business, like discovering a small pain point and using a minor feature to meet a small need. Just setting up a little stand, that's what starting a business looks like. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, a real major entrepreneur, big companies in China are actually very strong, especially in these areas. I think it takes a very high level of capability. You need knowledge of supply chains, industry expertise, R&D, warehousing and logistics, branding, comprehensive channel strategies, network knowledge, consumer behavior and psychology, and also digitalization and industrial internet skills. This includes everything from driving sales and distribution to building a deep distribution system, understanding the ability to drive deep digital sharing through a digital marketing system. Honestly, when it comes to the consumer sector, just talking about it like this already covers so much content. There are at least 20 major topics at the primary level alone. And if you break down each sign or aspect, I think if you were to draw a mind map, there could be over 100 items. A major entrepreneur needs to build up all these core elements, a whole knowledge tree, in their mind, forming a complete knowledge system and mind map. Then you need to connect and streamline all this in your daily life. When we talk about building a brand, there's push force. And when we talk about building channels, there's pull force. The interplay between push and pull creates a strong, fast-moving consumer goods company. As entrepreneurs, we need to do the same. You must have a mind map in your head, a clear framework for thinking, and the ability to think deeply. In your mind, you need to be able to run through your business model, your product, and your business world so that it connects with your real world. Only then can you express it clearly, and only then do you have a chance to actually make it work in the real business world. Unfortunately, what I've seen is that many entrepreneurs, especially young startup founders, are not able to logically validate and prove things to themselves. If you can do that, you can take action and break things down. As the saying goes, if you are prepared, you will succeed. If not, you will fail. If you can explain something clearly and write it down, you can articulate it well. If you can do that, you can make it happen. Actually, a lot of us can't think things through clearly, can't write them down, and can't get things done either. When we're making decisions, we just go with our gut. When it's time to take action, we beat our chests, right? And after it's done, we slap our thighs in regret. That's just how it goes. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think this point is important. The last thing I want to mention, which is also important, is that besides being able to spend and focusing on the top and concentration, the future will be about the Matthew effect. It will follow the 80-20 rule with resources and investments at the top. In the end, someone will always come out on top. So many people wonder, isn't it wrong to do nothing? Why are there people who don't do anything? Consumption is a basic human need. It's always there. As long as you pay attention to people's fundamental needs, it doesn't matter whether the economy is good or bad. Of course, in the short term, the economy needs to be managed well, but the key issue is how you grasp these consumption trends and shifts in identity to truly become the ultimate winner, instead of ending up as cannon fodder. That's why the winner takes all, and the head effect is especially important. I think this is particularly true in the competitive environment of Shanghai, China. Because the market is fragmented, the head effect will become more pronounced in the future. The Matthew effect will take hold. Those who are strong will get stronger. Only those with perseverance achieve lasting success, and only those with lasting success maintain perseverance. More importantly, this era where the strong get stronger is increasingly apparent.